Now we're going to cover the inside structures of the heart. Here again we have the right atrium, and the right atrium receives blood through the superior and inferior vena cava, and the inside of the right atrium, this vessel here, which is the coronary sinus. The coronary sinus receives deoxygenated blood from the heart itself. Just above that is the fossa ovalis. The fossa ovalis is a remnant of the fetal circulation. In the fetus, it was called the foramen ovale, and it shunted blood from the right atrium to the left atrium. Once birth takes place, this closes and it becomes the fossa ovalis. Blood leaves the right atrium through the tricuspid valve, or the right atrioventricular or right AV valve. It's called tricuspid because it has 3 leaflets, or cusps. They're attached via chorda tendineae to specialized muscles known as papillary muscles. These papillary muscles are then anchored into the myocardium, or the cardiac muscle of the middle layer of the heart. These ridges or ridge structures over here are actually the cardiac muscle ridges or columns known as trabecular carnae, and they're covered with an endothelial lining, or the endocardium of the heart, but the ridges are actually the muscle itself. Blood leaves the right ventricle and enters the pulmonary trunk, which you can see up here and over here. Okay, when you look in here, this is the right side of the heart. Okay, when you took it off, here was your right atrium. If you hold on to that, you'll notice that this is still the right side of the heart. In here is your pulmonic or semilunar valve, okay, which enters into the pulmonary trunk. Okay, it is not anchored by chorda tendineae, it's anchored into the walls of the vessel. This red vessel over here is the right coronary artery. Just remember that this pulmonary trunk is coming from the right side of the heart, so it's deoxygenated, and that's why the vessel is in blue. Okay. The pulmonary trunk eventually becomes the pulmonary arteries that go to the lungs and become oxygenated. The blood is going to give up its carbon dioxide and pick up oxygen. The blood then leaves the lungs and comes back as oxygenated blood to the left side of the heart through the 4 pulmonary veins. The 2 right pulmonary veins and the left 2 pulmonary veins that come back and enter into the left atrium of the heart. You can actually see the 4 black dots, the orifices or opening of the pulmonary veins. And the pulmonary veins are in red because they're carrying oxygenated blood. Okay, they're the only veins in the body that do carry oxygenated blood. Blood leaves the left atrium and passes into the left ventricle through the mitral or bicuspid valve, which has 2 leaflets, and that's why we're calling it bicuspid. Again, it's anchored by chorda tendineae just on the tricuspid, just like the right side of the heart. Okay, this valve is also known as the left atrioventricular valve. Again, chorda tendineae, anchored to papillary muscle, into the myocardium. Again, trabecular carnae. This structure here is the interventricular septum, and this here is the apex of the heart, which signifies the left ventricle. Also notice the thickness of the left ventricle in comparison to the thickness of the right ventricle. The left ventricle is responsible for pumping blood to the entire body. Blood then leaves the left ventricle through the aortic semilunar valves into the ascending aorta. Just beyond the aortic valve are your openings or orifices for the left and the right coronary arteries that lead to the other vessels of the heart. Blood then continues up through the arch of the aorta and goes to the body.